For 4 years, my wife Sarah and I have been living with her parents, John and Emily. Our relationship is rock solid, and we vibe well with her folks, who are kind-hearted and hardworking. We're a team. We share the household chores equally, often working together to clean, cook, and maintain the home. We try to help them in any way we can, whether it's running errands, doing yard work, or simply being available to lend a listening ear. Basically, we are a typical young family, supporting each other and tackling the challenges of life as a unit. However, lately, I found myself drawn to my mother-in-law Emily in a way that went beyond mere admiration. She's a stunning woman, inside and out, with a radiant smile and a warm spirit that lights up the room. Her sparkling eyes and gentle curves have always caught my attention. At first, I tried to brush it off as harmless, but the thoughts lingered, tempting me to cross a line that could jeopardize our close-knit family dynamic. The stakes were too high, and I knew that acting on these feelings could turn us into enemies for life. But then, something unexpected happened that tested my self-control. It was an ordinary day, and I was alone with Emily while Sarah and John were at work. I was engrossed in an article when Emily's warm voice called out to me from the kitchen, inviting me to help her with the salad. "John, could you please come and pick some fresh cucumbers from the garden?" she asked, her tone husky and enticing. Little did I know, this innocent request would lead me down a dangerous path, one that would challenge my self-control and threaten to upend our harmonious family life. Without hesitation, I stood up and made my way outside, eager to fulfill her request. After quickly locating and gathering the crisp green cucumbers, I returned to the kitchen, only to be met with a sight that nearly took my breath away. There was Emily, gracefully mopping the floor, her movements fluid and mesmerizing, as if she were dancing. The way her hips swayed, the gentle sway of her hair, the focused expression on her face, it all seemed to captivate me in that moment, and I found myself transfixed, unable to look away. It was at that moment that my mother-in-law entered the room, her keen eyes immediately drawn to the peculiar cucumber. "My, what an unusual specimen," she remarked, leaning in closer to get a better look. Her proximity caused my heart to race, and I found myself unable to tear my gaze away from her. As I placed the bucket of cucumbers on the ground, I found that I couldn't take my eyes off her. My mother-in-law, sensing something amiss, leaned over to inspect me and the cucumbers I had picked. One cucumber stood out among the others for its size, which made my mother-in-law exclaim. She questioned me about the origin of the unusually large cucumber, leaving me puzzled. Sensing my unease, my mother-in-law reached out, placing a gentle hand on my arm. "Is something troubling you, dear?" she asked, her voice laced with concern. I felt the rise to my cheeks as I struggled to find the words to express the depth of my feelings. I have something I need to confess," I stammered, my voice barely above a whisper. My mother-in-law's eyes widened in surprise, and she gently urged me to continue. With a deep breath, I poured out my heart, revealing Fifi and affection I had developed for her over the years. I watched as her expression shifted from one of shock to one of understanding. "My dear, why'd you say something sooner?" she murmured, her own cheeks flushed with emotion. She then proceeded to share her own marital difficulties, her desire for retribution against my unfaithful husband. "I'm willing to help you," I found myself saying, the words tumbling out before I had a chance to fully process them. My in-law's face lit up with a newfound determination, and she quickly made arrangements for us to meet in her room later, eager to discuss our plan for vengeance. She suggested that I could help her in her quest for retribution. Eager to help, I agreed to her offer. She asked me to meet her in her room after she had freshened up. The conversation left me in a state of shock. When the time approached, I found myself standing outside her room. Opening the door, she silently led me inside. What followed was an extraordinary experience. The next day, everything went back to normal. I took my wife to work, came home, and sat in front of the computer. I proceeded carefully, not wanting to scare her. Fortunately, my mother-in-law figured out the situation on her own. At first, she moved around the house as if nothing had changed. However, after about 10 minutes, the door to the room opened and my stunning mother-in-law appeared before me. Our discreet game continued, for we had agreed to behave normally and hide our true emotions to protect the well-being of the family. 2 years had passed, and we had successfully hidden everything without even a hint of suspicion. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe and like.